your most powerful ability in the game acquired, the run is going to get quite a bit more crazy very soon.
It's absolutely massive, Toadette. Grips just took a few deaths getting sent back to that safety station.
I heard you guys like lore, right? Well, we have go fast left, we have go fast up with enemy, we have go fast down, and now we have go fast up without enemy. Charge jump acquired.
Hello everybody. It has only been an hour and a half since our last match, but we are here once again for the Ori in the Blind Forest All Skills 2022 tournament. And this is our last match of the quarterfinals, and it is a doozy. This is a good one. This is the one that everyone kind of waits for. The 4 seed, 5 seed matchup. This is going to be one to stick around with, watch. So hopefully you've got some food, drinks, and you're chilling, ready to have a good time. Commentating this race is Cleanfell, that is the voice talking. And alongside me is Liftoff. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to watch this match unfold. It's going to be a super spicy one. These two runners are very, very close in skill level. Their PBs are less than a minute apart, so this should definitely be a very, very close, very, very exciting match. And yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, you said it. Both these runners, very good, amazing members of the community. Prim kind of has a kind of honestly great story. Came into this community just with word of mouth from friends and said, I could just try it. But joined for the 2019 All Skills tournament and actually won his first match in the bracket stage with like a 34 as like a 28 seed. It was amazing to watch. So Prim started off in this community with a bang, and since then has been just expertly doing amazing work to get the low 28 that he has now. So is currently still maybe you could say getting a little bit of rust off, but has been putting some amazing low 28 times and trying to make that push maybe for the 6th ever person to have a 27. What about Lusther, Liftoff?
Yeah, Lusther is an amazing runner. He has run a lot of different categories of this game. You can see the list. The list on the right side is far too long to list all of them, but suffice to say that he's very skilled in all facets of this game, and all skills is one of them. The time displayed there is actually not his PB currently. His current PB is also a 28:56 to be exact. So both of our runners have a 28 time, and let's see what they can show off today. Lusther is not super confident that he's going to win this match. Not expecting too much. He's just going to chill out and see what's going to happen. While Prim is going to take this very seriously, a little bit less safety than the previous matches, definitely respecting his opponent. But yeah, I think we're going to see amazing gameplay. Both of our runners, and we're off. Both of our runners have successfully skipped the prologue, and we are now starting the run.
Yeah, you said it. I think kind of this environment for both these runners are ones that they're not taking lightly. Both are opting to not watch the restream, some of which not even watching the race time. They're just, which I kind of love, just kind of zoning this whole thing out and saying, I'm just doing a run by myself, chilling out. And that's kind of where kind of, nerves could like maybe potentially start to show. This is like kind of their way of just saying, I'm just not going to let that affect me in any way whatsoever. Prim is opting to just, has in the past gone for 6 HP just for more safety, but again, is knowing where the situation, and we'll just be going for the 5 HP that he has been doing for the tournament prep. But yes, we're now all the way over from walking left for a minute. We're getting our sign, our first skill, so we can attack and get through the majority of glades coming up.
After you pick up sign, we get the first quite technical part in the run. There's lots of those with the Frankie fight. If you scroll will optimally here, You can do the whole fronty fight without having to stop. Both of our runners get it very, very nice. And as you can see, our runners are basically neck and neck. Prim is like half a second ahead or something, but that's nothing at this point in time. That can definitely be lost and regained in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, there's a lot of like different things in this Glades area that can show, kind of both opting to get the pickup animation for the XP at different times. Prim getting it earlier just on that slime kill, what Lusther got on the bounce pad. So they lost a little bit of time there as Prim's going to be the first to pull this keystone out. But again, kind of that XP routing is the main first part that all of our runners kind of get into their heads. We got to route this XP nicely in a way where we can skip a lot of brambles coming up, but both are going to, I believe, get a nice HP setup to get this ghost door. Yes, very nicely done. And so now we'll definitely get into the main part of Glades where we are getting that HP on both sides. So both runners for the majority of this run will be on 4 HP. That can be a good when we get to areas like Misty and maybe some more deadly areas coming up.
Yeah, we see Prim do a great pass drop through the elbow, and he's off to collecting the first keystone here in Glades. It's we're only going to get this one and then not actually leave Glades the way the game intends for us, and then it's going to be helpful that we have this keystone later because we can then use it on a different door, so that works out nicely. Prim weaving through, doesn't get the flower skip, takes the level up, destroying the brambles. Lusther looks like he's going to take the level up on the way up. Doesn't really matter which one you take, doesn't make much of a difference, but you do want to get a level up while you're in that area because having to destroy all the brambles manually is slow. Luckily, it looks like neither of our runners are going to have to do that. Both of our runners are now getting the first skill, wall jump of the run, and they're like 4 seconds apart or something. Still a very close race.
I mean, we're just gonna keep saying it this whole time. I mean, in qualifiers, their qualifier times were 2 seconds apart. So 2 seconds separated both these runners from getting, their respective seeds, basically. So, I mean, that's just gonna be the state of the entire match. So now we'll get that level up from Lusther's side there. So XP might be kind of a little bit more on Lusther's side as we have to continue to set up for more XP management. Because throughout Glades and Black Group, we're going to need to get that front block going at a nice pace. And I believe we have some quick flame strats for some runners as well coming up, so we'll have to be a little tight on how we collect all that XP.
Yes. Through getting wall jump here, we're heading back to the start of the game to go into Black Group Burrows to collect the go fast skill of the run in the form of dash, and we're going to actually see a route divergence in there, because Lusther is kind of known in the community for doing the pause float strats in Black Group Burrows, which as far as I'm aware, Prim does not do, so that's going to be interesting to watch.
Right. There's been a lot of new strats kind of that's been dug up, and it's just always happens every tournament season that comes around. There's just new strats that come about, and Blackguard's been kind of the main area that we keep finding this. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes mainly on both screens because they look identical at this point, but definitely on the right we might have some kind of some oddball strats you might not have seen every day. But now we're just going to get on over to this really dark area that I can barely even see the walls in at this point. But we're going to get this kind of orb maneuvering platform that we're going to manage some light platforms to get our next skill, which is going to be the really fast dash.
And here we can see the route divergence. Lusther is climbing back up the way he came. Usually not possible, but he's doing a trick called a pause float, which resets his vertical momentum and allows him to traverse this big gap. And he gets over to the other side and is now a cycle, I think, ahead of Prim. But he does have to pick up an XP orb top that Prim is not going to go for, because he skipped an XP orb earlier. But he has oh no, he misses it. Never mind.
Yeah, it's really like finicky, having to do kind of like we do with the SA, where we cancel and proceed with the ability menu. We do it on the pause menu, and that's how he's able to do those like kind of extra jump boost that we get. So it looks like in the end, with a little bit of kind of a flub on that second pause flow, we get back to our runners, and it doesn't look like a ton of time. They look tied again, honestly. Oh wait, oh no, Lusther has to let this the orb spawned on the platform.
He got an unlucky orb drop.
Yeah.
And that puts Prim ahead by a cycle or something. A cycle, an important measurement of time in Ori speedruns, is 8 seconds. So that looks like what's separating our runners. Both are doing the fairly new save anywhere strategy here, which by taking a save anywhere up while you're doing this auto scroller, you don't have to place down another save, and you can do some shenanigans, stacking some other cutscenes while the dash tree becomes active.
That's right. So we will be seeing a divergence. Prim will be going for Quick Flame, and Lusther will be having the more, I would say, you could say the more safe Magnet. So especially for this Frankie Walk coming up, Prim's going to have to be really careful on where he kills that Frankie. It's got to be really close to the platform. Lusther, okay, it looks like got the cutscene stack, but I think he had the UI on for a second, so he had some words from Sign. Usually for this entire playthrough, Sign just stays mute because we don't need to hear it.
We're speedrunners, and we want to skip all the lore that we can.
That's right. So now, here we are with Frankie Walk. Both of our runners have some nice XP management. Kind of, really, I could say, like, one of the big scary, like, junctures. Once you get past this area, I feel like a lot of nerves for many different runners kind of start to calm down, and they get in their element. Lusther, the Frankie kind of wasn't attracted to Lusther anymore, but still had an extra hit that he could use to get that Frankie to get reattached, and now is going to get through. Now we have one more Poison Swim from Luster's side to get through. Oh my gosh! Okay, that was close, but we made it work. And it's also going for the Death Glide. Lusther, you're crazy. Okay,
and he gets it. That's
wow. That was nuts.
Oh no, and Prim takes a death to...
Oh yeah, he got one framed. Okay, so Lusther is able to get back a little bit of time here.
That's super unfortunate.
Wow, okay, but took that save before the bridge came down, so didn't actually have a monumental death. I think without that, he would have gone all the way back to the dash tree. That could have been soul crushing.
That would have been disastrous, but safety saves are a good idea, and that's another example of that happening. The keystone that we picked up in Glades now comes in handy. We picked up another one, and we can use the two to open this door to get down to the wall jump tree. Prim executes a ghost door, and Luster's not far behind. And now, let's see if our runners are going for blind movement here, or if they're going to do the Ginso tree game storage. It looks like Prim is going for Ginso tree game storage entry, and the same for Lusther. So no blind movement on the double jump tree.
Yeah, well, we're already 1/3 through this race, and so many things have already happened, and it's only like 8 seconds apart. So this is what we've expected to see, and this is what I feel like we're just gonna keep seeing. Just so much amazing stuff from both sides as we get into this really, really fun section. I'm not being sarcastic. It's just, or maybe I am. Enter Ginso with all these slippery grotto walls and I guess all this menu manipulation. It's gonna be a treat.
And Prim gets first try grotto skip. That's very nice. Let's see if Lusther can match that. And looks good. Let's see if Lusther is French. And Lusther is French confirmed. Gets a flawless baguette jump.
And that saves about, I think, like, what, 40 frames? So there you go. There's 40 frames closer. Amazing job. So now we did some cutscene rekindling there. So no rocks are in this section, which... yeah, I think if we had rocks, it'd be a lot less easy than what we just did, where we just climbed up walls. It was very nicely done. So with that, we're going to grab a water vein from Gumo, but we're going to continue to see Gumo just sitting there like 3 different times, because all the cutscenes this game are entirely broken. For him have a little bit of trouble with the slime here. Okay, looks like Lusther is going to follow suit and also have trouble with the slime. So kind of no nullified time lost there for both of them as we're getting up through. This is kind of the big slime. This is slime known as Gandalf that Prim just went through. Is known for just not letting Ori through, but there you go. Both of them get through very nicely.
Yeah, and we're coming up on the Ginso tree where we're going to put the water vein that we just picked up to good use. Let's see if we're going to see a route divergence as well. Prim not picking up the AC up top while Lusther is. So that means Lusther is going to go for the Terror Break route. Prim is going for Crazy Juggle. The routes don't differ that much in time. The bulk of the time that you save with Crazy Juggle is just by being able to skip that ability cell that Lusther had to collect. Another trick that saves about 8 seconds, if I recall correctly. And we can see the game storage trick at the entrance of Ginso that we mentioned earlier. By performing game storage, after opening this menu cutscene, we can enter and then gain control of Ori while the cutscene plays. And at the point when you normally gain control of Ori, we're almost outside of the first room already. Prim climbing up while Lusther does the same trick, gets it as well, and it starts climbing up the Ginso tree. Has to be a little careful. He is on 1 health, but he should be fine, right?
Yeah, opts take a safety save as well. Get up to 2 health here for this gamer section room. Is going to hope to get some nice dash glides off of all these rocks to get a nice, like, really quick cycle. There you go, very nicely done, getting a low ton of double jump there. And now both of us are making our way into this puzzle that we're not going to follow the intended way to finish, because why would we? And going to just use 1 block simply to push the shot through, make it fall down this portal, and now we're going to get through into the mini boss, where you could say this is the main part of the run where some RNG can come into play. This mini boss has 5 different locations it can spawn in, and normally we would just like it to be really close to us and not on the far left or right that you see right now. But very nice from Prim so far. I think that was 3, and I think that was a 4.
Yeah, he almost got a 3 cycle, gets a 4 cycle. Getting a 4 cycle will be very hard for Lusther because Prim did level up Quick Flame while Lusther hasn't. So this is the main part of the run where that choice saves time, but it obviously makes the Frankie walk earlier harder. So we can see that Lusther, I think that was a 5 cycle, so he'd had to spend one extra cycle in the mini boss room. Meanwhile, we see Prim collect all of the 4 keystones, put them in another ghost store, and now we get the best skill in the game in the form of Bash.
Yes, this is where the run gets really crazy, doesn't it? Lusther was actually honestly really close despite not having Quick Flame. It was I think 1 shot away from it. It was insane, but nice ghost sword from both. Gets a hyperspeed as well. Ooh, that's so beautiful. And now we're going to be using the bash to project pretty much anything you can imagine. If it moves, we could bash off of it. Enemies, projectiles, all these lanterns that are coming up, as we're going to use bash specifically to get some keystones, more than we should, because we're going to duplicate them right next to this door so we can use them for later. Setting up a nice position right next to these brandables, and beautifully done.
That looked great. Textbook Yidu by Prim. He rekindled the save afterwards, so he now has the 3 keystones he collected and can collect them again, taking him up to 7 at the moment. Puts them in, gets a hyperspeed, and hyperspeeds through, and he's up to the second Ginso mini boss while Lusther is doing his key dupe. So Prim has carved out a small lead, but it's still anything can happen, and one death to something like Sorrow Bash or something could upset this race and put Lusther back into the lead. Yeah,
Lusther didn't like that first angle for his key dupe and just calm down for a second to set up for kind of a second one that people like to use a visual glance in the room to set up for it. So very nicely. Now we're going to get into more bashing and XP collection, as we want to kind of continue to collect ability cells throughout this mid portion of the run, because we want to get the charge dash. That's kind of the big main reason that dash really comes into effect. We can use a lot of different tricks, rocket jumps, and charge dashes with the bash cancellation. And now we're going to get into our swamp entry, getting Ringo, our lovely frog, over into this area here that we're going to double bash, which is a nice little nifty trick you can use with bash. 2 double bashes and no problem.
First try swamp entry that looked very clean on Prim's side. Prim is having a great run. Lusther has Ringo take a bath though, and he has to redo the trick, which means he also has to rewatch this cutscene. That's going to be that's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, Lusther I think had a dip in the water, and so took 2 damage, was on 4 HP, and couldn't really set up for the method he wanted, because I think, okay, he's fine in the end. Gets the double bashes there, so that's not too much time loss, but again, at this level, even small time losses like that are enough to start making a big difference here. Another, I guess, thing to note is that Lusther did skip the lasers. Prim has lasers on in the grotto area, so we'll have to take a look at that as Lusther's doing fish trats to get up. These are all double bashes. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Amazing job.
That was sick. Yeah, every double bash is a frame perfect trick, and while scroll wheel does help, it's still quite scary to go for. Meanwhile, Lusther has picked up Stomp while Prim is heading out of Stomp. Gets a good cycle so that even though he has lasers, they're not actually stopping his movement. If Prim does everything correctly, you're not going to see anything, and he skips a cutscene that would have cost him 17 seconds if he didn't bash in the exact right spot. But Prim knows the spot like the back of his hand, and it's no problem for him. Going to be picking up another energy cell over here, which is going to put him at 4 energy, and does not do the test spider sack double bashes. I cannot blame him for that. That is an insane strat for barely any time save. And Lusther is coming up on the Kuro cutscene skip. Let's see if it goes as well for him as it did for Prim. And he doesn't get it, and he decides to eat the cutscene instead of trying again. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It's kind of hard to say what specifically could have been like holding on to the bash too long. For that trick, you want to just like have the minimum time of holding a bash as possible. So your Ori essentially just like displaces between 2 areas, not especially. So again, more time loss on Lusther's side, which is giving Prim, you could say, more of a slight advantage going through, but is going to do this double bash chain. Ooh, so close. He had it perfectly there. Just need to get that one more bash off of that shot after stomping. That's the hardest one, honestly, because you have to stomp then bash. It's insane, but I really do respect the attempt there. So he's going to now get his charge flame as well.
Prim is heading over left, up the valley of the wind. This is the section of the run where having 4 health really helps, because all of these spikes that you can see here, all of them do 3 damage. So on the 4 health that our runners are on now is a bit of extra safety to not get one shot if you make a slight error in the later game sections, though there are still plenty of places that will one shot you anyway. Prim setting up for fast stompless. That shot looked good, but and he actually goes for a very recently discovered strat of taking a save anywhere through stompless, gets the cell and takes a save, and that looked very good.
Meanwhile, Lusther's side had some Frankie shenanigans. So the Frankie actually kind of, I think, took a low jump, and he had to use C-Flame to get through. It wasn't too much of a time loss there, but I was just like, oh my goodness, this more things in the game just being absolutely trolly today, as now we're getting into this late part of the game, and this is where the big tricks come into effect. We just saw fast stompless from Prim. Lusther will be doing it soon, and now we're on to Sorrow Bash, kind of the hardest and biggest sequence break that we're going to commit here. Prim has been showing some beautiful double bashes so far. Let's see. No, does not get the first Sorrow Bash. That I think that bird was too low and couldn't get the double bash off. It was immediately into spikes. And doesn't have a save up here as well. Some people opt to do a safety save right up the top there, so they know. Going for a second try and not going for the double bash, just gets the charge dash there. So nice second try there. Also has a little bit of shenanigans with getting this ability cell. This bird is not, it's just really wants to get in Ori's face right now. And so Prim's gonna opt to just glide up just normally. And Well, now we'll be going for the crazy juggle coming up.
It's a wild trick to watch.
Again, all these kind of charge dashes that he's doing are canceling within few frames, and has to do numerous of these to get this frog all the way up top. Gets it done very nicely. And meanwhile, while that was happening, Lusther got first try Sour Bash, so saved a little bit of time and gets the rocket jump. So kind of, you could say, a little bit of time save there, but now you'll see a little bit of a divergence, as you'll be like, okay, I don't actually know who's in the lead, because both of these runners did different paths, one doing Terror Break and one doing Crazy Juggle. So basically, it's kind of, once we see the Sorrow leaving part of the run, we'll get to actually kind of get caught up on how far or ahead of Prim that will be.
Yeah. Prim is now heading down and is going to glide through the spike cave that Lusther already went through and collect the charge jump that Lusther is at right now. Meanwhile, Lusther is heading back and is going to go perform a trick called Terror Break to go up to break the ceiling that Prim broke with the Crazy Juggle Frog, and is going to collect his Sunstone.
That's right. One person gliding up, and the other getting ready to start to stomp down and get out of Sorrow. This is, I feel like, for both these runners, a big sigh of relief. This is really the only area where all these spikes are 4 damage spikes. All these spikes will kill them instantly. So I definitely, in this position, I would want to get out of here as quick as possible, while also being a little bit safe. And Prim will opt to do that before Xing Sorrow. Places down a safety save. I really like that. It kind of knows, even though it isn't watching the restream, knows this kind of, this area is prone for being very, very big deaths are able to happen here. So going to go ahead and just play it safe. And on Lusther's side, now got that Sunstone, skips those lasers, and now we're getting closer to seeing amazing movement from both these runners in Misty Woods.
Yeah, Misty is basically has some of the most enjoyable movement in the run. We have all the essential skills. We're just missing Climb and Grenade at this point, and they are super movement important unless you're doing grenade jumps all over the shop. So yeah, you can just see our runners show all their skill with charge dashes, stomp cancels, and just generally insane movement. Prim is getting to the climb tree just as Lusther is entering Misty. He's not far behind, but Prim has carved out a fairly solid lead for himself, so unless something goes wrong for him, this should probably be his race to lose.
Yeah, Lusther had a really, really unfortunate Sorrow exit death. You feel like Ori gets magneted to these spikes somehow when you kind of stomp down these walls and just kind of get attached to them. So that you really hated to see something like that occur. Again, only one kind of half of Misty apart for these runners. One death from either of these runners could kind of equalize this on Prim's side, but again, we've been seeing some great movement, and with opting to take that 4th HP, it does get a nice barrier of being able to take one extra hit as we get on through. Is going to do some nice rocket jumps. This one in particular is very fun because you have to stomp these slimes, then dash over to rocket jump and do a nice kind of meatball strat rocket jump to get through all those. And is going to see, I don't know, we might see a mini boss here, we might not. I honestly didn't really see anything, so nicely done. So meanwhile now, Lusther is kind of catching up on what Prim's been doing now. Same amazing movement, charge dashes, and canceling them. And now we're going to see Prim leave Misty and get our final skill, Grenade.
And after that, we're already heading to Mount Horu to finish out the run. So this has been a very high skill, very quick race. Meanwhile, Lusther is just finishing, going through the meatball corridor here. Gets a very nice weave as well. And Prim is taking a save anywhere from the Glades teleporter all the way down to the grenade tree, where he's going to use his one remaining ability cell to skip and yet another very, very long cutscene. goes through the laser while Lusther is finishing Misty with a very quick mini boss kill. And he's up and dash gliding, and that's the cut successfully skipped. And Prim is going to hit his 10th skill tree in just a second, and there he is. And now he just has to get to Mount Horu and finish the final escape to close out this match and take a lead in this best of 3 series, which is going to have him with 1 foot in the semi-final.
That's right. But meanwhile, the show is not over yet. We have some lasers to get through. We have some doors to warp through, and we have some jumping to do with Grenade. Just kind of things just keep on piling as we get into more parts of this game that say, oh, there's like so many more crazy tricks that we have to do, and we've already had to do like 20 of them. Look, this run has just been optimized to just have so many amazing, crazy things happen in it that it's just like every minute you'll see something crazy happen on both sides of the screen. But yeah, so Prim is going to now be on his way into Horu Fields with some really tough elementals he's gonna have to skip through. And we'll see how he opts to kind of get through this area. We've seen some grenade jump optimizations, or just kind of opting to do... no, he's got to do the grenade jump. Very nicely done. Gets the Hera jump, and we're in to the door.
So now, one more trick and one final escape still coming up. The trick is door warp. Another frame perfect trick where you have to press up on the first frame that you gain control of Ori after reloading the save here. Can Prim get it first try? Of course he does. And now he's initiating the final escape and going for one skip. This does not give him an energy refill at the start, but does allow him to do the first part of the escape blind while the cutscene to initiate it is still playing, and can save a lot and can save a decent amount of time if you pull it off well. But now Prim's just a couple of rooms away from victory in this first match. Takes it a little easier. The climb charge jump there off the wall. Now weaves through here. Waits a little to set up a better fish cycle that looks okay, and gets out without taking a death. Now he just has to glide up here. Climbs up the left wall, remembers to bash left, and sets up for the grenade jump. Doesn't get it first try, but doesn't get a second and gets hit by the rock. Oh no.
My god, the rock! Alright, Prim is going to have to now do warm skip a second time because the save doing that trick doesn't save you at the end. Oh my gosh, and now Prim takes a second death. Okay, so Prim's still in the lead here, but Lusther is at door warp, is now going to opt. Lusther has to do the same trick. And gets it first try. Prim is still okay. He gets through. I saw the redness coming on his screen, so I was like, okay, this is getting really tough. Now Lusther's also going to go for warm skip here. So Prim's still in the lead in this escape right now, but Lusther is slowly behind in this first room here. Has to do the second room blind. Let's see how he manages it. On the right side, gets through, but Prim is still in the lead. Gets through the fish, and now is going to be in this final room. Going to set up again for this grenade jump. We'll try it again. You'll see. But Lusther is so close. Let's see. Okay, Prim's on the wall. He
gets the grenade jump.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
Lusther is now in the lead and has the chance to take this game. Lusther is skipping successfully on that wall. Is going to opt. Yes, the position on this wall is very, very close. You need to set up perfectly. And Lusther is walking.
Oh my
Lusther
god.
takes game 1.
What a nail biter of a finish. That must feel awful for Prim. I feel so bad. Oh my god. GG's to Lusther though. Wow. I don't even know what to say. That was so tense in the final moments of that run. Wow.
Yeah, that is, man. It was, man, just first off, just the Ori take for Prim's side, man. That I really didn't see what was really wrong with that position on that wall for that second grenade job attempt. It was definitely like either really close to being the position he needed to be. But But that initial Sigma rock was that was so rude. But now is into the escape. One more try is going to reset up for the wall here. He gets it the third try. So GG Prim.
GG Prim. Wow.
Oh man. Time-wise, might not been the closest, but I feel like that's got to be one of the closest ones we've had.
Yeah, that was
insane final escape that got swapped due to a Sigma rock and a soft lock. Oh man.
Oh man. Wow.
And that was only game 1. We still have potentially 2 more games to go. Liftoff.
Yeah. Good thing we don't have to commentate those, because I don't know if I could take that.
There you go. Prim crosses the finish line with a 31:40, 1 minute and 7 seconds behind Lusther, which is honestly what kind of this whole race has been, right? Nearly, you could say, a minute apart. It kind of got a little bit of a mid-game stride for Prim. Lusther having a little bit of shenanigans in Charge Flame, eating the Kuro cutscene, taking a death in Sorrow Exit. So Prim did catch up a little bit on time there. It was kind of just chilling out, but the final escape, man, it did him so dirty. The worst I've seen in a long time. So you hate to really see something like that come down to that, but he still played amazingly. Both runners still played amazingly, so shouldn't let that kind of affect him going into the second and potentially third game as we get on through. But
yeah,
that was
we
crazy.
have a 10-minute. Yeah. Totally crazy race. We have a 10-minute break now for our runners to kind of reset, calm down a little. And then we're going to go into the second match of this series. If Lusther takes this one as well, then that's going to be him advancing to the semifinal. If Prim pulls it back, then we'll see an exciting match 3. Yeah.
Well, everyone. We're back so soon for Game 2 of Primorix versus Lusther. My name is Cleanfell. I'm commentating alongside Lion, and in that first game, what we saw was quite an amazing showcase from both runners, which kind of, we saw shenanigans happen all over. We had near-death experiences from Lusther's side, Prim getting one-frame God Cycle, Lusther having to eat Kuro cutscene and taking a sorrow death exit, but it really all came down to that final escape, which did Prim so incredibly dirty with a Sigma Rock and a soft lock that allowed Lusther to come back from about a minute deficit to take that win. That was insane. And as we showed it off at just being one of the hypest matches of the quarterfinals, and so far it's turned to be that, hasn't it, Lion?
Yeah, so far it definitely has. That one was definitely a good race. It wasn't necessarily the most close itself during the whole time of the race, but the ending was definitely very good. Not necessarily, if you're Prim, not exactly the ending that you would have liked to have, but still it was very good and very exciting race. Definitely unfortunate that Prim did have to do the escape 3 times, which is obviously not ideal. But you'll really hope in this one to be able to just clear his mind and just get back into it, try to forget that happened. You practice escape a bit, try to make sure that you can just get back into the mindset and try to get another run that's as good as you can do, and to potentially take this to a game 3.
Yeah, kind of the first, I think. Yeah, this is the first match where the higher seed took a match. So far, we've had kind of 3 2-0s in our quarterfinals, but this one's shaping up to be close. And if you look at the seeds, if that does happen, we will be seeing a game 3. It all is going to come down to this next one coming up. And I think both runners honestly aren't going to really change anything. They're both going to continue to not watch the restream. Both are going to continue to be throw as safe as they can be. I think both will be opting to do the same thing of picking up the 4th health and so on and so forth as we are getting in to game number 2. Here we go.
It's gonna be, make your way once again, this time over through Glades to make it over to Sign at the start of the second race. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, just want to make sure the kind of need to just try to clear their mindset and just get back through just try to make sure it's a new race. The time in the last one doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that for Lusther, it doesn't need to be like maybe I was racing and excited for completing that race and for being frustrated about it. That doesn't really matter before, but now does matter is this match, and try to do as good as I can in this one specifically, and to not try to dwell on what happened in the previous game and just get through this one, as we have now made it through the first minute and gotten to pick up Sign.
Yeah, honestly, kind of, we never like to kind of dwell on mistakes on the runners. Prim, honestly, for that entire run was having a great pace. I think was looking, if he did get that first try final escape, was going to be having a low to mid 29, which his goal was to kind of get at least sub 29 like all these races. So unfortunately, not hitting that goal still was on that nice pace. But yeah, again, just the unfortunateness. But so far, you see just perfect movement so far, and that's what we've seen in a lot of this portion of this races from both these runners, and we're gonna keep seeing that as Prim actually gets a little bit sniped. I actually think he wanted to set that up because he might not want to take damage from this slime specifically, and hope to not get some pesky health drops from these slimes. It was actually on 1 health already. Okay, so I think Prim's going to have to opt to kill this slime and not go for the fast kind of. Yeah, there you go. And, oh my god,
he got a health drop.
Oh dude, why every time the game, what is, it's so rude. Okay, after that shenanigans, Luster's gonna have a few seconds lead here, as we're gonna see both runners again opt to get this 4th health. So like we said, we don't think these runners are gonna change their mindset on how they're going to play. I think Prim's gonna continue to do a bit of safety saves in kind of the late games like Sorrow, and Luster's going to continue to do some very funky BRB movement that we'll see after we get through the very walky, the very jumpy Sudden Glades.
Is able to, on the movement down after the health cell, get the nice insta drop down, so it doesn't then have to wait to kill the extra bramble on the floor. So we'll have to do an extra damage boost later, but it's just a tiny bit faster there, as both runners now going to make their way down to wall jump. Prim is going to get flower skip, Lusther not having the right XP for it, so Prim has made up a bit of time there at the end, and they're both going to be coming into wall jump very close together.
Yeah, that's right. And honestly, this could run kind of. This is the area where you get to just kind of jaunt around. As for a lot of seeds, when you do a back to back to back, some people can opt to say, oh, I get really burnt out by doing so many runs in a row. Some people are like, oh, well, I can do 5 or 10. It kind of it's like a personal preference on your mental space. So for a game like Ori, giving the runners this chance to just kind of chillax as we get into the next run. Kind of, it goes to slow, but then gets really speedy real quick. So I kind of love that from a game like this, as we're able to now get through with our wall jump, climbing back out, and Prim's actually gonna opt to take a safety save here. How interesting! Oh, I think he does that like damage boost there, so you don't have to kill that bramble. So very nicely done there. And so yeah, I think Prim, honestly, Prim does know. I think he is in that position where the execution practice he's had has definitely let him say, I can do a little bit of safety here and there, and especially for kind of late areas where you could have a big death that Lusther did in the first game. So now, with both of our runners getting into Blackroot, we're kind of see the same thing we did in the last game. Prim with the more casual strat that we've seen, and Lusther with the funky pause floats.
The difference in abilities leveled here. So Prim is going to take Book Flame, where Lusther is going to go for Rekindle here, because Lusther got a lot of extra XP. He's going to be opting to take Rekindle here instead of Magnet, which he would normally go for, just so that he can set up his XP perfectly, and not have to get extra XP and accidentally level up. So now they're both going to be making their way over here, and in a second, we're going to see Prim go up for the orb, whereas Lusther is going to be doing some pause floats, as he did, and unfortunately takes a death, and without a save, that's going to take him all the way back to the start of Blackroot Burrows, where he saved with the cutscene skipped, which is around 30 to 35 seconds lost. So, unfortunate.
Ouch. Yeah, you really don't like to see that. Early game deaths, while not being very far away, it's just we have nothing to speed it up. We just have to simply walk back to where we were, and that's kind of the real cost. Is that once we get those skills like Dash coming right up here, and then maybe stuff like Bash, that's when, if we can take a death, it's not really big time loss there. It's just more of the distance. But here it's kind of the opposite effect, where we didn't lose a lot of distance, but we sure have lost a lot of time. So for the early game, you could definitely say, unless Prim has a little bit of shenanigans here, we'll see Prim be kind of the trailblazer throughout the early to mid game here.
Yeah, and so Luster's actually be doing a different strat. So whereas the last game he would and climbed up the left wall, this time just deciding to take the normal way up the platforms, but is still going to do this pause float to be able to make his way up and get this XP orb instead. So not quite as much of a time save, but still. And unfortunately,
he leveled up, I think. What?
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
I guess he misrouted. I honestly didn't really see what his
No, I think what he did was he was trying to go for the pause float. He did the level up, but that was the intentional level up for the first level. But he went for the pause float, and during the pause float, if you press the wrong button, it quits the game to menu because you have to click the pause. And so he went, and instead of clicking on the difficulty to pause it, he had hit the exit to menu button, which accidentally pressed proceed, which exited to menu. So it's a bit unfortunate and is going to cost some extra time. Whereas, meanwhile, while we're talking about Lusther, Prim has made his way through the end of BRB and is now onto Frankie Walk, after getting the blind movement out.
Yeah, that's definitely harsh. Oh man. So yeah, we'll definitely see Prim kind of being the first to these first few tricks coming out for Rocky Walk here, as well as the potential Grotto Cycle coming up, is having that quick flame, which is kind of the little route difference deviation that we're going to see. So has to wait for this Frankie and just kill it as it gets to on the slime. That was really nice. He had to collect a lot of that XP for that level up. I think he was maybe in the teens number away. So gets the majority of it from the 19 XP that Frankie drops. With that quick flame as well, as Opt is going to be able to kill these brambles in just one swoop, is going to get through, and we'll have to see how he goes through for Grotto Cycle. Didn't get it both tries in the last race. Going to opt to place another save here. I do like that, kind of if that unintentional, I mean, unfortunate one frame trick happens. Won't be saved. Ooh, okay, get the dash there, but I think he was too far to the right, so he just bonked right into the crystal. So not too bad there. I don't believe Lusther got it in the last race, but we'll have to see. That could be a potential time save for Lusther, as he will be about an entirety double jump split behind here.
Yeah, so Lusther didn't get a last race, but it's definitely understandable because the Grotto Cycle is a very difficult trick to get. It's one of the more precise tricks that we see out of all the things that we do in this run, and so it's definitely understandable that many runners have missed it across this tournament. So nothing, fault to Prim for missing that, as you see Lusther is going through his Frankie Walk. As Frankie gets stuck, but does have enough health for Lusther to attack it one more time and make his way through the rest of Frankie Walk. As Magnet, so this should be totally fine, and does get it, as Prim opted not to do the blind movement here, but will be going for Ginzo Game Storage later.
Yeah, both runners are going to opt to do the same trick with the game storage on the right. Lusther doing a death glide. Ooh, that's one of the scariest glides ever, because you're already on low health from Death Gullet, and now you have to get away from these brambles. Prim on the left is having a little bit of trouble with Grotto Skip. This kind of area you need to get on the wall to refresh or double your jump is really, really tight. You got to fall just enough, gets it there. So not the perfect first try, but does get it now, and will be heading through the very slippery grotto section walls once again.
And so the trick can be a bit difficult, especially the more you mess it up. The platform will swing, and so the position you're jumping from is slightly off. So definitely understandable. The more you miss it, the more difficult it can be. But Prim does get it in the end. We'll be climbing some more, also very difficult to climb walls, placing some more saves, skipping some more cutscenes, and just walking farther left and picking up a water vein as we see Gumo again and again as he's clung because we keep skipping cutscenes. And now Prim is going to be making his way up to the top here, as Lusther is on his tail, but still big difference with time loss in BRB, as he's going to be making our way up towards the Ginzo tree now in just a little bit.
And about 1 minute and 20-second difference. Kind of the difference here from the first game is that that 1 minute 20 difference was at kind of the mid to late part of the game, where this is at the early game. Gets another baguette jump first try, no question about it. Lusther's definitely French. I think we can just like throw that theory away that Lusther might be like a anti-French, but I don't think so. I think he's definitely solidified his position there in the French community. So now is going to be doing the same thing with these grotto walls and skipping all these cutscenes. And now coming up on the left side for Prim, since we did not do the blind movement for double jump, we're going to be using the movement somewhere else, and that'll be in here at the entrance to the Ginzo tree. We'll be saving, then doing game storage by doing kind of scroll wheel on menuing, so that we can enter the door as this cutscene that lets Ori look at the tree and says, wow, look at this really tall tree. And well, by the time the cutscene's over, we're already through the first room.
And so there is a really tall tree here, but all we care about is one small tree that's inside the tall tree. So we don't really care about this big tree. It's just we need to climb it to get to another tree. And then after that, we can use the thing we get from that tree to get some other trees. So a lot of trees, but this one's probably one of the least important ones. But now Prim has been making his way up here very quickly as I'm talking about trees, and is now through the teleporter room be placing a save here and dying and getting a bit of a faster cycle as Lusther picks up the extra ability cell and will again be going for the Terror Break route as Prim is saving those 8 seconds, going for a crazy juggle as makes his way into the mini boss room now.
Well, this is a blind forest. I had expected to be a lot of trees, you know.
Yeah, I mean that is true.
Well, now we're into the mini boss here. I guess it's like a worm infested in this tree. I mean, we could go on for a long time. Lusther unfortunately has to watch this cutscene of Gumo take the water vein that we already had and is listening to Sign, even though we never like to listen to Sign. Isn't able to actually do that game storage because of that. Because he doesn't have this SA. No, he's still going to be able to do it because he's just going to wait for the door to open and then place the save right there. So not the most optimal game storage, but it is a game storage nonetheless. So it is still kind of an overall time save. Maybe someone more expertly might be able to figure that one out. As we are now at the bash tree, one of the biggest skills in Ori, as we'll be now bashing off all these certain projectiles moving enemies, so on and so forth, and we're getting to kind of this mid portion of the game as Prim is only 23 seconds behind his PB, so far has been putting on a very nice show.
Yeah, still very good bash flip as well in Ginso. Got a 3-cycle mini boss as well, so that's another very difficult trick that he did, and so I'm actually he wants to make sure that he takes a damage boost here before he places a save, but didn't quite get the damage boost off, because that allows his health to be set up for the Ghost Door on the second try through here, but does get it after the second time. Is if you normally do 3 HP, you wouldn't have to do that damage boost, but because of the safety with 4 HP, it does. But does get it this time as Lusther is now in the mini boss, and since he doesn't have quick flame, won't be able to get as fast of a cycle, but still gonna try to do as good as he can and kill the mini boss in 4 or 5. Just a few shots at 4 is not gonna be doable, but will kill it in 5.
See a little bit of save there for Prim's side with that quick flame. Kind of the main reason people would pick up quick flame is for that save there. Yeah, kind of like you said, like the muscle memory here, because Prim's so used to all these really tight tricks, not placing any safety saves whatsoever, doing 3 HP just to get for those PB attempts. When you actually opt to put in safety strats, sometimes you forget. You're like, oh yeah, I wanted to do this. So, and now you kind of have to play it a little differently as we're now getting into the swamp entry trick. We're going to get into there without the cleanliness of the water. Prem's gonna opt to do the same thing last race, not skip the lasers, as we'll probably expect to see Lusther actually skip those lasers that we saw from the previous race. And so that was a 15-20 bash from Lusther, which makes it about, you could say, 1 minute and about 40 to 50 seconds behind here as we are getting into here. Double bashes from Prim Sign on the left, very nicely done, and he's into Swamp.
So, as Lusther is now to make his way over to Key Dupe, as Prim is now into Swamp, and is now going to be climbing up to the Stomp Tree in just a little bit, and still, even just a few spoilers from Prim, but the rest of it has been very good in this run. Still a very good time.
Yeah, Lusther unfortunately though missed Key Dupe the first time around. Was too far to the left on that bramble there. You need to kind of be like, the range of that door is so perfectly close to that bramble that's only like a small section where they actually connect, where you can actually hit the bramble and still be connected to the door there. So it was a little too far and had to opt to get a reset there. So more time gain for Prim's side as we're now seeing a exit from Swamp, as we'll be seeing an entry to one. So a little bit of a high five potentially coming up. And so now we'll be using Ringo. Oh, too far of a bash. Ringo takes a dip into some spikes, and we'll be doing a little bit of a backup here using the actual vanilla puzzle and just opting to say, okay, I'm just going to let these mortar worms... okay, yeah, so the mortar worm is actually attracted to this piece of wood right here. And so Prim's trying to get this mortar worm to get attracted to this rock, but... Oh, okay. I think he was like, oh, could I just like skip this, doing this? But no, it's going to just, okay, there you go. Second try, we're through. We have the ability cell and we're out. Okay, that was a little bit of a mess. Okay, we have lasers. Whew, okay. Prim's like, all right, that section was really, really cool. I'm just going to leave now and definitely not watch a cutscene as Lusther will be entering Swamp right now. Oh no, the double bash. The double bash didn't get send the Frankie up, so he has to try this again. And he has to rewatch this cutscene. Oh man, the mid game is being very rude for both runners.
Yeah, especially Ringo. Ringo's being a jerk to everyone today. But yeah, I just want to comment a bit on the ability cell for Prim. It can be sometimes, especially if you're not really familiar with the backup strats, it can be a bit difficult to try to remember exactly what you need to do for that. So just opting to go back for the frog again is totally understandable, as Prim is now making his way over to the charge flame tree as Lusther is about to make his way into Stomp, as going for fish strats once again.
It's so crazy. Oh no, the fish! The fish falls down. Does not get that third double bash. I mean, it's still amazing to get two with all this really amazing frame perfect double bashes, and it's going to go for it again. The fish is not going to stop Lusther, the madman, and gets it through second try. Very nicely done. And so now we're getting into this valley section with a lot of birds that we're going to be using. Particularly, we're going to be stomping rocks onto a really big bird. That's just kind of, yeah, this is the section with all the birds in it. And so we're going to be using those birds to get more ability cells, as we're going to level up the charge dash, and that's where the run's going to get really crazy, as we'll be using tons of cool tech coming up here.
So I want to point another thing Prim just did there. So as he entered Valley Entry, he stomped the barricade that you normally see flame, and instead placed a save after the peg. So then when he picked up that energy crystal, he still has enough energy. So just a tiny bit of a time loss, and unfortunately takes a death, but that save is going to prove to be valuable here. And so, as I was talking about, it does actually make value out of that save. And as Lusther is going to be taking another death there. So definitely some safety saves taking value here for sure. Especially for Prim's side, as you really don't want to have to walk back all the way over to the spirit tree and to climb and over again while sitting there in that cutscene area where you have to move slowly. So it's one of the worst places to take a death.
Yeah, we've been seeing some definitely nervous movement from both of these runners here. Lusther does not get that double. Okay, he places a safety save here. Actually, oh man, that was really, really nicely done. It's going to go for the double bashes now, as Prim just successfully gets fast stompless. And let's go. There it is. Gets the double bash there. So no cutscene of that spider sack will be watched on Lusther's side. And whew, very nicely done. We're now one split apart of the glide feather split. Honestly, it's been kind of weird because we've seen deaths and mistakes on both sides of these runners in this mid game. So it kind of honestly like equals out a bit with the time save on how far ahead Prim is at the moment. But now here we're coming into, once again, the spiky Dorito Caves of Sorrow Pass. Prim got a second try Sorrow Bash in the first race, and let us see if we're going to be able to see a first try from him this time around. Gets the birds set up nicely. Very, very low to the spikes, but uses some double bashes there. Does not hit the spikes this time, and he is in. Very nicely done.
Is going to be able to make it into Sorrow, and we'll be also placing this other safety save here, which he likes to do, which will picking this up. It's energy in that. Oh, and that's one of the reasons why it does place that save. So is gonna be able to redo that and won't have to redo Sorrow Bash once again, as Grease Juggle is a very, very difficult trick to pull off that Prim is going for right now, whereas Lusther having a bit of trouble with these birds that are very annoying and don't like to be in the right positions, but does get the stomp on the bird's head, and is going to be moving over to fast stompless as Prim did a very good sea juggle after killing the frog. The sea juggle part was good, and now is going to be collecting his sunstone.
And now we have a fast stomp list from Lusther with the save anywhere. So very nicely done from his side. No mess up there. Fast stomp list has honestly been one of the tricks that runners haven't even had a problem with, even slightly. It's just passing a spider shot. Very, very easy. And so no cutscenes will be watched on Prim's side. Hopefully not for Luster's side either. And we'll be picking up this extra XP to help set up a level up, though, because we need essentially one more ability point throughout the course of this run now. We've spent a lot of them, and this is the part of the run where it's like, okay, finally, I don't really have to worry about my XP routing anymore. Also opting to get that kind of plant there right near the sunstone to pretty much ensure that he does get that level up there. And now with Lusther's attempts at Sarabash, oh man, so nice. First try, both games with the AM game 2. Not even proving a problem for Lusther, as both runners are now into Sorrow once again.
Firstly, lost a bit of the XP from the plant up at the top, but it didn't really matter as there was an extra 100 XP that he could pick up. So his XP will be totally fine as now makes his way out of Sorrow. And although it looks like both runners are doing similar things, I remember Lusther still does have to take about an extra minute to climb up all the way to the Sunstone, which Prim already did, as now Prim is in Misty Woods, and with the 4 HP that he has is a bit safer now that he's out of the area that does all the 4 HP spikes. So one hit will still take him all the way to 1 HP, as he does just there, but does still have some HP, but does take a death actually, and it's going to put him all the way back in Sorrow. But he did place a save there, leaving Sorrow, so not going to be as big of a death as it would be if he had to go all the way back to the charge jump tree.
Yeah, but didn't even get the meteor kick that time around, just because where he positioned just wasn't near like those birds. So that was about a 20-second death from Prim, equalizing this just slightly. Again, those safety saves for Prim that he's been placing throughout the late game of this run has been coming in very, very nicely done. But again, I definitely think from both runners' sides, you could say, especially Prim, that final escape in the last one has definitely caused him to show us a little bit of nerves here, not getting certain tricks first try, like grotto skip or kind of the exits into that Ringo area, but is still performing incredibly well. Gets a safety save here to skip a cutscene, kind of both things, and very nicely paid off because we have some spikes in our face, but still has 1 HP to survive. And well, now we are definitely heading on to climb just about at the 25-minute mark as Lusther is entering in now. So I think this is definitely kind of a 1 minute 30-ish difference, which is pretty much right as we saw from the last game. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, so definitely still it's off from the last game, anything's possible, but definitely still a lead for sure for Prim in this race. So going to be trying to do his best to make his way out of this run, as the laser not going to be nice, but does make it through as Lusther is almost at his climb tree, and Prim is about halfway out of the second half of Misty. Does only have 1 energy here, so because he dropped a bit, but so we'll just have to be a bit safe here. Going to opt for a few less charge dashes. And probably won't be able to place many saves, as he does want to do a few rocket jumps that do take some energy. So gonna hope that it doesn't really make a big mistake, because probably won't have enough energy to save. Might go for 1 before the mini boss, but aside from that, he would have an energy to save here. We'll see, and does choose to take this energy and will be saving here, so definitely very reasonable. Don't want to take a death and go all the way back to climb tree.
Yeah, no mini boss again on Prim's side. And now we're heading into this final stretch here where we're getting all the keystones, finally using all the ones we've collected throughout this run to get into the orb room, which we immediately leave because I don't really want to get the Guma Seal, do you? So now we're getting out of Misty, as Lusther's kind of in the second half. Did take 1 hit, but is still on 1 HP. Is going to opt for a safety save. Really like this. Just kind of hoping that nothing catastrophic could happen to Lusther as he's heading on through this final stretch. And so now we have few more areas left, and kind of another similar thing that we've seen from the last thing is another perfect bang zoom. Man, the mini bosses in Misty have not even posed a threat for our runners this series so far. But yeah, kind of a similar situation, Prim, with a 1:20 to 1 minute 30-ish difference as we're entering. But again, we saw in the first game anything happen in these final 2 splits. We have one more cutscene to skip, which we have successfully done, and now all that is left with all of these skills is to head onto our very fiery dungeon.
This picks up the grenade skill, and will be making his way to Mount Haru as Lusther has now left Misty and will be just following him out here to Blacker Burrows, whereas he's going to be entering as Prim leaves, so still definitely difference here, but anything, as we saw in the last race, can happen. So Prim, though, now going to be going to the boulder section and pick up his 5th HP and make it into final escape after going through Ori Fields, as Lusther, with the Save Anywhere, will be making his way down through lower BRB, and with this cutscene skip will also be leveling up Ultra Magnet, which will allow him to get a bit of extra energy and health drops in Horror Field, so we can look out for that, maybe be able to save just a tiny bit of time with that extra magnet, which will give him some extra pickups potentially.
Yeah, Prim got the energy there as entering Horror Fields and was able to use that, and has 3 energy to his name as he enters this final escape, which is on kind of a high 30 pace, which is kind of what we've kind of close to what the pace he was on beforehand, kind of maybe like more of like a high 29 last time around, and is now getting for Door once again 1/60th of a timing press, gets it very nicely done, no problem there. And we're now heading into this final escape section. More warp skips coming out of our thing. We're not seeing these first 2 rooms of the final escape on Prim's side. Some perfect stomp cancels are going to be necessary here to get through these rooms. Very nicely done. The camera snaps back and we're into the lantern room just like that. No problem, no foul. And so now we're heading into this section with the elemental, and very nicely done. 1 swim section to go with the 5 HP. It is going to be a little bit of tight. You got to wait for that fish, and gets through 1 bash, 2 bash. 1 final room now, and we have to jump up, be careful of some rocks, and set up a grenade jump. Doesn't get it the first try, has to wait for this. Waits for the Sigma rock, doesn't hit him this time. Prim gets it. GG, takes game 2.
Yeah, and so I think I noticed his Lusther was a bit low on HP there if he's going to go for warm skip, so I don't know if he actually did place a save down, but or if he got an elf drop, but if he didn't, then he will need to if he wants to go for warm skip, which I didn't catch, but he's going to be going for warm skip here, so I assume he already did do that, and I just wasn't paying attention, as Prim is going to be walking over to the right with Naru, finishing with around 30 minutes and 46 seconds, so not really the ideal time that would have liked, but is still going to be good enough to take the win in this race and take us over to game 3, as Lusther is going to make his way into the swim.
Yeah, sets up those fish nicely, and is now just not even going to wait for the camera to pan over. Just, I know where Ori needs to be. Lusther says, I need you right here. Charge jumps is up. We don't even see a bird. Doesn't get that grenade jump right away, and is going to continue to set up again. The grenade jump again is another 1/60 of a timing press, but still has 3 energy to his name, so he can take many attempts as he needs, but he only needs to take 3 attempts at it, and he gets on through, and will be finishing with a high 31 to low 32, I believe, as, oh my goodness, he let Sign talk again. Ah, Lusther, we love you, man. All right, well, Lusther took game 1, Prim took game 2. We need a tiebreaker line to see who's going to take this series home. We've had 2 amazing races so far, haven't we?
Don't seem to amazing and entertaining races so far. Definitely I would say, and both the runners would probably agree with me, that these were not the times they would have really liked to have gotten in this tournament, but still, some good races, and we'll hope for sure that they can have a better performance in Game 3, which will be coming up in around 10 minutes after the next break.
That's right. And before we go, we want to definitely make sure we shout out to our crew who's been with us for these first 2 games. Clean Fail me commentated with Liftoff in the first game, and I was commentated with Lion in the second. And thanks to Rin for trucking the second game, and Skull helped us truck that first game. And we also want to definitely big shout out to Koala, who is helping us restream this entire series. And so far, it has been hype. This is the first third game we're gonna have to go through in this tournament. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Don't go anywhere. Maybe take a small break with bathroom refreshments so far. So, anything else you might need to do, as we will see you guys in just a little bit. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We're now here. This is going to be game 3, final game of the day between Lusther and Prim. We had some exciting games in the first 2 matches with Lusther taking the first one, and then in the second match, Prim was able to take back the race and is now here and baited the series tied up at 1-1, giving us the first match, the first game 3 of this quarterfinal stage. So I'm still on Olenar, and I'm joined now by Abso. How are you doing? Excited for this third race?
Yeah, well, it's pretty late here, but I'll try to have enough energy to make this race interesting. I just wanted to say something about the game freeze. I think we've already gotten one game free that was like a show match on another race, but yeah, it was just a show match since, well, the 2 first games were already taken by one of the contestants.
So first match, the first game 3 that this is 1-1, but the thing to note is that, yeah, as we're saying, it is pretty late, especially for Lusther, and so that could potentially come to back for him, potentially being very tired in this one and not really as energized to potentially go in this race, and fatigued, especially after losing that match, the last match, and taking some extra time losses. He wouldn't have liked, maybe being frustrated, and for him as well, having to still play the extra race that might not have wanted to run. And so it's gonna be it. Definitely be. We'll see what happens whether the runners are able to show the best performance of this race, or if we'll see some more spaghetti today.
Well, for all I know, Lusther really wasn't expecting to have 3 races to run. Like, he really believed he just couldn't win against Primorix. So the first win was like a huge surprise, especially with like learning what happened. I mean, the end game of the first game for Primorix was tragic. Like, I'm not exactly sure what happened or how it happened, but yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen again, and we'll just get some very nice 29 level runs from both runners. Maybe even 28, since both have a 28 PB. But
Definitely.
Now the game is starting.
Yeah, as we get, it's definitely, Prim did say that his expected times that he expected to get and times that he'd like to get are closer to 28 than a 29s and 30s and 31s that we have been seeing in this match. So definitely we want to hope that the runners can have a better performance in this match and show the best of their ability in the final match of this best of 3.
And so the run has started. Like the 2 previous runs we've seen, they're going to go and get their friend's sign, which gives them the Spirit Flame ability that allows you to just hit the enemies. They will do that little rhythm attack on the flunkies that appear after they get sign, in order to just rush towards wall jump. These are the pretty usual movements here, pretty much tied on both sides. I think Primorix had a slightly slower prologue skip, which places him just slightly behind Lusther, but nothing significant at this stage.
We said many times now, just we got sign and we've got a jump and we've got left and right movement, so that's all we can really do for now. Especially it could be in the best of 3 matches, it can be a bit different, especially after just coming off a run where you were just doing like a movement for a while and now you're just back to running and jumping. So for some runners it's a way to just like relax and get into the run, and sometimes it can feel like frustrating because you're a bit slow and you want to be able to keep moving fast, but you can't. There's definitely been times where I've tried to start off the game and press the dash button, but fortunately you don't have a dash at the start. So now both runners going to be moving over the left for the ghost, or just tiny bit of a lead here for Prim, but in the end it's not really going to matter. It is Glades and it's less than a second. So as we're now going to be making our way up to this 4th health cell, which both runners have been choosing to get throughout this race, and so now we're going to see And moving down after the 4th L cell over to the left for towards wall jump, as Prim is going to be getting this insta drop where Lusther will kill the Bramble on the way down.
Yeah, Prim taking a little bigger lead compared to Lusther after this fast drop here. So the strat is very new, very recent. It was like added less than a month ago to the best runs on the leaderboard, and I'm not even sure it's on a run on the leaderboard since they probably haven't PB'd yet. But it says, well, it's estimated to save about 1 second, so it's definitely not the most important trick, but it's pretty interesting optimization for a really good player like, well, Primorix or Lusther could even learn it later. Granted, he decides to continue running all skills after the tournament. Now both runners have gotten their wall jump. They will be taking the energy cell on the left and then rushing towards BRB. One of our least favorite places for us runners. Maybe not for Lusther, since he found an incredible number of strat there, and he will be showing us, I think, this post-load strat that he did on the 2 first races, maybe getting a clean one this time.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely Lusther in the last race had some troubles with the pause floods and had to, as well as a death at the start of Blackroot Burrows, so lost some time there last time and kind of put the race out of reach just from that start. So now we're gonna hope that as we go over to BRB that that doesn't happen again. So we're gonna be making our way over here as Prim before places safe to save a bit earlier, this time places it later, and instead, and now as Prim has just a few seconds lead, just with some better movement with the insta drop and with flower skip and just a few other small movement optimizations that kind of a bit of lead here as we enter Blackroot Burrows.
Yeah, we've got like a 2 or 3 seconds lead for Primorix for the moment, but as Lusther showed in the previous run, mistakes in BRB can be very costly, and either one of the runner dying on the spikes, for example, could just have his opponent take a 30-second advantage or more, depending on when the runner might make the mistake. So let's hope no one does anything problematic here, and we keep such a tight race up until at least dash. So
Prim actually did save on the TP there on accident, so it meant that that's a bit of an extra MS there as Lusther. Unfortunately, takes a death in the hits in the spikes, and does take a death in the end as well, but had a save, so it's totally fine.
Safety saves are like godlike creatures, really.
Yeah, and Prim as well losing a bit more time there on the movement, so won't be able to get the fast cycle that Lusther is just going to be trying to get here, and will be getting, as Lusther this time did choose notice not to do the full pause float. We'll still be doing this shorter pause float here up the top, which is very understandable because it is very difficult to do. So we'll still.
And also, we need the 100 XP here. He didn't take the ones on the bottom, so if he doesn't take this one, he's gonna have some problems in his future XP routing.
Yeah, and so
yeah, Primorix has taken back the lead because of Lusther's death, despite his save on the teleporter at the entrance of BRB.
Actually, no, Lusther is still ahead here with Prim. Lusther is in the dash room now, just not getting to the third platform as Prim is now moving there. So Prim's actually about 2 cycles behind now, and does miss the dash room cycle as well. So Prim will be losing a bit more time here. So Lusther now getting a bit more of a lead here in Blackroot Burrows, as they're not going to be moving down to do the cutscene stack as Prim makes his way over to the lever and do
set up here. He will do a backflip when respawning in order to place Ori right on the good spots. He got it, I think. Blind movements here going through BRB. There's a fall on the way, so let's hope he doesn't fall. He didn't fall, no problem, and Primorix will start his own blind movements going straight towards Funky Walk. right after this fast stack he also does. Monkey Walk started on Luster's side. I think there's like 10 to maybe 15 seconds difference. 23 according to our tracker here. Luster is baiting the Frankie. Primorix is going to start his own Frankie walk. Well, Luster is quite significantly in the lead, but it's still not the end of the run. We've seen him catching up to Primorix right at the end, and we've seen how mistakes can be very deadly in this game. A death can cost a lot, so often for a beginner runner, avoiding death is a huge source of time save.
So I'm just making sure that another runner takes a death here, as Prim going to be getting his Frankie Walk. Does have no magnet, so going to be going to be a bit more difficult as Lusther make his way and does get the God Cycle this time. If that's the first one, it's the first actual God Cycle we've seen this whole race. As is a very, very difficult trick. But Prim is not going to be making his attempt at it now, seeing if he does get it, will be going for it, get the dash, and will be able to make it through very close as well.
And Lusther going to go pick the tree here. It doesn't save because the blind movements are outdated. Now we're doing the Ginso storage strat. And we're going to see a high five here on the way up for Lusther and the way down for Primorix. High five between Horis, yay! And a slight lead that is still kept by Lusther here. And he will be going to go and try to leave Grotto by doing that precise jump on a wall. I think Lusther froze. Okay, it's fine. Are you still here, Ryan?
I am still here, definitely, as there was, yeah, a bit of a difference there. We're gonna now make sure the runners are synced up again as Lusther gets his baguette jump once again this res, as still around a 20-second difference. Double jump, but Lusther is actually ahead of his PB, so very, very good start for Lusther for this time. Definitely better than what he was gotten in the previous races, so definitely esteeming that like this run he's been able to have a good time here this time, and Prim is also able to get his Grotto skip and is now going to be making his way up the wall that Lusther just climbed and over to his water vein.
So I'm not sure, did Lusther do the baguette jump? I didn't watch, but I think he did it.
Yeah, he did get it this time as well. He's got baguette jump all 3 rounds.
Yeah, that is the mark of a true Frenchman, which I may not be. But Lusther getting the teleporter here, climbing all the way through Grotto towards that tree at the top of the hill called the Ginso tree. Primorix is doing the same. We'll see if one of them has had a better execution throughout this area. This area is very execution heavy. There's not many tricks. There's nothing that really facilitates your movements here. You're playing with the few skills, which makes it a very demanding area, even for the best runners.
See, again, a bit of a difference here. Prim will be catching up a bit of time after not having to collect the ability to sell, but Lusther did collect to the Sea Juggle route, and so a bit of a difference there, but still Lusther is in the lead here. As Prim does get the cycle on the Grotto or the Swamp Crushers, as Lusther make his way over to Ginso, does get this save this time, and will be going for the game storage, and Prim following just behind.
Just opening the door, entering game storage here. I think he got it. Entering, and the cutscene is now playing. Lusther is playing over the cutscene. Primorix is doing his own setup, so he caught up quite a sizable amount of time compared to Lusther. And Lusther will be going to go and get... Oh no, Lusther!
Yeah, unfortunately, not gonna be able to do anything else there. And
is a disaster for Lusther. Since Primorix just takes the lead, going for the Rasmus cycle here. avoiding the little, not sure how you call them, gimmer on the platform.
Yeah, now with that Death Prim is going to have a lead going into the puzzle room as getting to be taking some damage and doing a Mesmerism cycle there. Both the runners will be taking that save and the death, and will now be going here and getting a tiny bit of faster cycle, yeah, and getting through the puzzle room and making it over to the mini boss with Lusther just a few seconds behind now with that death in the second room.
Crazy how we're just cheesing the puzzle room, like wasn't meant to be played this way. Primorix here will be getting quite a few seconds of time save. I didn't see if he got 3 cycles, but Lusther certainly cannot get 3 cycles. So a bit of time saved by Primorix by playing with the Quick Flame ability. Going for the damage boost here, nice setup, getting the keystones, and he will be opening the door and getting bash first.
So Prim did get the clean 3 cycle there, so and since there were only a few seconds difference there, it's now just a bit more, so that really kind of shows the difference between taking Magnet and Quick Flame here, so as a bit of a faster mini boss for Prim as he moves into Upper Ginso, as Lusther is just finishing up his bash tree, and they're making your way through the puzzle and then on over towards Kidu.
Yeah, there is a 10 seconds difference I think now, but both players have shown that they had a pretty good execution up until now, Lusther with the little mess ups here, so we shouldn't expect the lead to grow too much, granted no mistakes are made. Well, now that I'm saying it, Lusther has had problems on the Ringo, well, on the Swamp Entry Raver I should say, for the 2 first run where he died at least once. So hopefully it will be fine this time. Primorix has had some problems with Kidup here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened the first time. Personally, I thought he got it. It looked fine, but I guess he didn't. So he had to redo it, and this will be doing it again, which gives Lusther a bit of a lead here now. It's a few seconds as we're going to be going through the second mini boss.
Interesting back and forth here, with Lusther losing the lead at the beginning of Ginso, and well, Primorix making a mistake at Kidup, allowing Lusther to regain a little bit of a lead. It's not quite as sizable as it was when he was at double jump, so the race is still very close. Well, like maybe a half of Ori standard units of difference between both runners, which makes 4 seconds. Lusther didn't pick up the XP here over the Gandalf slime, which means he is going to go and get and do that new strat at Pure Perch, which happens later into the run. He's however going to do the blind movements while Primorix isn't going to, so 1 second saved here by Lusther. Juggling Ringo very well here, no problem. Get trolled Lusther. Okay, nice. Primorix caught up in the meanwhile, since Lusther had to wait for Ringo to replace itself. So the race is now closer than ever.
Lusther didn't get the speed. Prim does go for the reload, didn't get it either, and we'll see how Lusther with the fish strats here as Prim is going to be going up here, so Lusther will be...
Oh no.
Doesn't quite get the double bashes perfectly, so
and
now we're
very
synced. Yep.
Lusther dropping the last double bash, but still saving it, allowing himself not to fall at the bottom and lose quite a bit of time. So now we're almost synced. Primorix is slightly in the lead. They're both opting for different strats to exit this stone tree. Not very different. Lusther is slightly slower, but it doesn't take damage, so it's the safer option. And they'll be playing with Ringo now, trying to get a sail.
mess up his movement in the last race. So, see, does look like he got it this time. Barely makes it, as Lusther is just behind him. And the thing I wanted to point out is that Lusther, even though Prim is in the lead, Lusther is still having a very good run and is still a few seconds ahead of his PB at Stomptree. So definitely still a good run from both runners in this race, and definitely more of what they would want to see in this race compared to the bit of some more mistakes that we saw in both the other runs. So very a lot better to see for now in this run, as Prim makes it past the insta-kill spikes, as Lusther will be going for the double bash chain here. This is a very, very difficult trick to get with these double bashes, and does get it though, again. Did get it in the previous race as well, so we'll be able to get it one more time and save just a tiny bit, as Prim is now going to be making his way, putting a save anywhere down Lusther as well. And you want to note here is Prim is barely a few XP away from level up, so he will be getting a level up in Valley, which means that he will be able to save a tiny bit of time and still place a safety save. So we'll be able to charge flame this wall and place a safety save, as well as not have to get another extra energy pickup in a little bit, which saves a tiny bit of time here, as the level up will come up in just a bit after he gets in here. So a bit of extra safety that Prim will be able to take here, and we expect to see him place a safety save after this peg like he did in the previous races.
Lusther is going to have to pay a bit attention to his health here. He took a damage on the flunky when climbing out of Sea Flame, so he might die on this frog if he's not careful. Alright, it's fine. He will still have to pay attention all throughout the segment here and during Fast Stompless. Despite playing 4 HP, he's not safe currently, so let's see if he makes a mistake or not. It looks like he had a slightly better execution compared to Primorix here, allowing him to retake the lead once more. And since he will be going for much easier strats with Terror Break that is coming in Sorrow, Lusther might take quite a sizable advantage if Primorix gets some spaghetti on his way.
And so, I think we saw there is Prim dropped a double bash, which allowed Lusther to get a bit of time there, as we'll see this difference in strats here, as Lusther will be going for a bit of different strats. So, looks like he's a bit behind, but he'll be able to get Ori
and
quite
that's
ripe.
Disaster. Lusther missed the game storage here, so he will have to reload the game once in order to get rid of the broken camera. So if you miss the game storage here, you get a broken camera that prevents you from to reach Sorrow, sorry. So he has to reload the game in order to fix the camera and be able to get into Sorrow. This is a 4 seconds time loss, well, more precisely a 2 second time loss, since, well, reloading loses 4 seconds, but Lusther avoids taking energy on the way, so he saves 2 seconds next to it. Which is not disastrous, but if he forgot about it, he would have lost quite a lot of time. Primorix on his side, doing the sea juggle. He's got some spaghetti on the slime at the beginning of his juggle, no problem up until here. He's going safe on the end, so he will be able to finish his sea juggle without killing the frog and avoid quite a major time loss. But on the other side, he didn't save as much time as he hoped he would with a sea juggle here.
Yeah, so even though it's really hard to tell
Lusther.
what the time difference here, as Lusther unfortunately does get hit with the spikes. All the spikes in Sorrow do either 4 or 5 damage, since they only have 4 health. That's all a one shot, so Lusther now is going to make his way up to Sunstone, and so it may look like he's a bit ahead here, but he will have to slowly float all the way up here while Prim...
Another high five here.
Yep, while Prim will be making his way down to the charge jump tree. So if Prim is able to do this quickly, after he picks up that extra XP, he will probably still be just a bit in the lead, but it is very, very close.
Yeah, it is almost tied here.
Yeah.
So Lusther's keeping the lower cutscene. This is a cutscene skip on, well, Sunstone that Primorix did previously. It saves 64 seconds, which is quite an important time save here. And well, both players are now going to go and get into Misty. Granted, Lusther doesn't die on the spikes. Alright, playing safe. Going for the meteor kick right behind Primorix. There are like seconds of difference. A minor mistake could change the lead.
And Prim unfortunately did drop an energy there, so we'll have to be a bit careful. And takes a hit on the spikes, so gonna make it or synced once more. And that's just gonna Prim's just gonna have to play a bit slower here though, because of his lack of energy. So wants to make sure that he still has enough energy, and especially with the 1 HP. So just gonna play a bit safe there. So it really just shows the bit of the difference in the time loss that comes with being a bit safer in Misty. So this Lusther is now gonna be taking advantage here, but Prim will be placing a save and reloading this cutscene skip, so just a tiny bit of time save back there. But Lusther is still in the lead, and now Prim will be able to get this energy so that he has enough energy for the rest of this start of Misty. This Lusther is going to make his way to Climb Tree first, but it's barely a lead.
And yeah, just like I called it, the lead is really small and Lusther could take back the lead just because of a slight mistake from Primorix. And thankfully Primorix is playing 4 HPs, because with the mistake he made, he would have been back to Sorrow if he was playing 3 HP, so safety is very important in tournament setting here. They're now entering, well, not entering, but continuing one of the most demanding area in the game. Oh my god, Lusther messed up his movements here. He's still in the lead, so it's fine. But in this place, Misty is a nightmare for, well, less skilled runner, I'd say.
No. Prim.
Yeah, Primorix took a death here.
Yeah, so forced the game, decided to lag a bit, and thus messed up his movement, and so he has to take a death there and go back to the climb tree. So a bit unfortunate there for Prim. As Lusther is now going to make his way over to the mini boss.
Going for the quick kill here. Gets it. This is very nice. Lusther is opening the door. Primorix is doing this time clean movements, not taking a very, well, damaging death. Lusther going to go and burn a bit of energy here on the way towards BRB for the revisit in order to get his grenade. The lead is quite a bit bigger than before. I wouldn't try and do an estimate here. Primorix doesn't
just
get
a bit over 30 seconds.
Yeah,
over
probably 30 seconds.
now, just around 30 seconds for Lusther. So, as
well, it's not over. We've seen what the last lead can do.
Yes, still definitely not over for sure. But definitely now an advantage for sure for Lusther, as Prim is now going to make his way through out of Misty and over to the teleporter, as Lusther now has glitched the lever and will be making his way out of here and down into lower BRB and over to the grenade.
Oh god, that was very close for Lusther on the laser cycle. He's had some spaghetti happening to him on BRB, but for now he's still fine, still in the lead. Getting the grenade tree now, I don't know how he will play his way back on his BRB. Since, well, as we've seen on the laser, it was very close, so it's not the cycle he's used to have, so safety would mean he'd wait a few seconds for a cycle to go. But I don't know if he's feeling pressure or not. Yeah, he didn't have a choice. Okay.
So we'll wait for the cycle and now make his way out of Misty, or out of lower BRB, over to the teleporter to final TP over to Mount Haru, as Prim has gotten his grenade as well and will be making his way out of Blackroot and over to the teleporter, but still definitely behind.
Yeah, Lusther doesn't watch the race, so he doesn't know he's ahead, but I think he still got hope to win this race after such a good run. He's still on a very solid 29 pace here. Going quickly through horror fields, he will try to go for the grenade jump, as he did for the previous races. Gets it very clean, no, not very cleanly, but he gets it on the first part, going for a grenade jump here, and yeah, he won't go for one skip here, so he will be losing about 15 seconds on Primorix, which should still put him on the lead. Oh, he saved. He will save a second time inside, then.
Yeah, so if he places 2 saves here, then he will, but Prim actually has taken damage as well, so he might try to go for that as well, but since he only has 3 energy, he's choosing not to go for warm skip as he doesn't see dashes there. His first try door up there.
If Lusther knew the situation, he wouldn't even need to try this game storage here. He got a menu bag.
Yeah,
not taking any safety, going straight for the blind movements. Come on, Lusther. Primorix on his way to the final escape too. He gets the first try door work. Lusther is still very much in the lead here, so no mistakes from Luster's, meaning he will win the race, but the final grenade jump is well where Primorix lost the race earlier, so it's not over. Primorix starting his final escape, watching the cutscene. He can't do the warm skip since he doesn't have enough HP. And now suspense.
If Lusther gets screwed up, he will be taking the race, and he will.
First try, GG, Lusther. Lusther will be going into the next stage of the tournament, the semi-finals, and he will be playing against Rin. So a French duel on the first semi-final, sorry. Primorix finishing this race. Clean swim here. Spawns Curio, sadly. Does he watch the race or does he not? I'm not sure.
Not sure he's watching it now, but...
And he will die.
He'll go for the grenade jump and he will get a soft lock.
Once again, soft lock. This is cursed. I think... Will he finish the game? No, Prim...
Yeah, I think Prim now knows that...
He will not finish the race.
Yeah.
Well, that was impressive. That's quite the upset. I think Primorix was expected to win, granted his recent performances on his training on his stream, compared to Lusther, who seemed to have just given up hope before the race. I mean, he himself said, added rather a post-mortem note on his commentator notes. That was unexpected. I think both runners will be joining us for an interview after this crazy match. This is definitely the best BO3 we've got up until now. Like, it was really, really close on that last race, but even the previous one had some pretty tense movements.
So.
Alright, both runners joined us for the interview. GG Lusther, GG Primorix.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, GG.
I can understand the disappointment.
Yeah, I can understand it too.
Yeah. No, I mean, you definitely earned it, like, especially that last race, like, that was...
Yeah,
I was not coming anywhere near that.
At least as I finished with a rather good time, like not a 30 or something.
Yeah.
Primorix, you've gotten some problems with final escapes during the runs. The first run, well, I don't think we need to talk about it. The Sigma Rock and then the soft lock. The last run got a soft lock too. Do you know what happened? Why did you get these soft locks? Was it the position or something else?
Yeah, I think it was position. I mean, honestly, the last one I had spawned Kuro and had screwed up the movement, so it was like, you know, what am I gonna do? I just had to, at some point, I just had to do it. And it wasn't right.
Yeah, sadly. So
it didn't matter.
I don't know if one of you was watching this last race. I think Lusther doesn't watch the stream. Do you, Primorix?
Yeah, I had watched it during the second race and checked it during the last one as well. So I could tell it was close, and then I died and missed you, and was like, well, oh well.
Yeah, it was insanely close. in the climb tree, you were just seconds away from each other, and Prim took quite a sad death. I think, well, Rin, our tracker, said it was kind of bullshit, so you got the idea.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate, but still, for the most part, yeah, it was definitely a close race for sure. Throughout most of the run for the third one. So
yeah,
it's
I'm
one of
happy we are able to propose a close race, especially with those quarterfinals being quite, one-sided.
And I definitely wanted to ask both of you like your thoughts like and feelings like coming into the final race, especially after like doing two previously. It can be like kind of hard going into the third ones sometimes, especially for you, Lusther, since it's like very late as well.
Yeah, the fact that he's late is not like bugging me, since I waked up pretty late just to account for that. But yeah, 3 in a row is like a lot, and I had some special like things to just get me distressed during the run, and I guess it helped me a lot because usually I get like very shaky, and I was during the first race, and the second one was horrible but not that bad, and the third one was actually okay.
So now that you've won Lusther, you will be playing against Rin on the semifinals. So I think you know who Rin is, how good he is at the game.
Yeah.
Do you have some apprehensions? Are you scared of the matchup?
The only thing I'm gonna say is that I'll be doing 3 HPC juggle and magnetless, and that's
Oh,
all.
Oh my god.
And I don't care how horribly wrong it will gonna be, but it's gonna be fun.
Primorix, you've lost a match, so you're not on the tournament anymore. Do you have any plans for, well,
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to
gonna
get to
uninstall the
27?
game and throw my computer out the window.
Oh no, don't do it.
No, but seriously, I don't know. We'll see.
Alright.
Like I've been working a lot on being consistent, which you couldn't tell by anything I did today. But I don't know. I feel like hopefully it made me better enough at the game that I might actually be able to 27, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that's something I heard from other players too that are still on tournament. Like, just uninstalling Ori after a tournament and doing something else. I guess some of us are getting very burnt out by all the training and grind.
I wouldn't be burnt out if I didn't have the worst 3 no resets of my life, or the past few years.
Yeah, that's quite heavy here. I don't know if Lion has more questions to ask.
No, I'm good, but just wanted to say, yeah, thank you to everyone that has helped out with this race earlier with Bleedfell and Liftoff as well on comms, Skull and Rin for trucking, as well as also for commenting with me in this game, and Koala on the restream for all 3 of this series. So this is going to be it for the quarterfinals, but the tournament obviously is not over. Semifinals and finals will be taking place next week. Semifinals will be on Saturday, and the grand final and third place match will be on Sunday next week with something else, secret special thing happening after the grand final. So make sure you don't want to miss it next weekend. Be here. Same place, times, and stuff will be figured out once we get there. But for now, that is it for this weekend, so we'll see you next weekend for the semifinals on Saturday. So thank you so much for watching.